All right, so this week on the Air with Brian Gregoire interview series, I had the opportunity to sit down and talk with Skyler Sorenson, who's the founder of the Field Rush. It's a social media page covering college football. It's been blowing up on Instagram, growing at a rapid pace. In fact, the Field Rush just launched its website recently, so be sure to go check that out. Skyler hails from Provo, Utah, but he's currently a student at the University of Utah. Interesting, but I love it. In this interview, we talk about how Skyler started the Field Rush, balancing that with college, and the importance of pursuing your dreams, whatever that looks like, and being sure to always listen to the child inside. Tap into the child inside. We all have it. I hope y'all enjoy this conversation as much as we did having it. And without further ado, here's the interview. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Air with Brian Gregoire interview series. I know it's been a little while since I posted one of these, but I promise it's for good reason. Because today we have a fantastic guest on. He's the founder of the Field Rush, which is a page, a college football oriented page that has absolutely blown up on Instagram over the past 2 years. He started it in 2023. We're here in 2025. He'll detail his story. But Skyler, it's great to have you come on today and tell your story.
Thank you for having me, Brian. I'm super excited. I'm ready to go.
Absolutely, no, I'm glad to have you on here.
Yeah.
It's great having a Utah guy on. I mean, you've
Yeah,
got
yeah.
the
Am I the
prestigious
first?
review behind you.
Am I the first Utah guy?
Yeah,
I hope so.
yes, yes,
Oh,
you are.
perfect. Okay, perfect.
But most of my people have either been Southern or like Midwestern,
No,
or
that's fair.
and so yeah.
Yeah,
No, when I actually think about it, I think you are my first Utah guy.
I
So
love it.
and great state. So no,
Yeah,
Utah, BYU. We'll talk about that a little, but
yeah.
it's
Just
great
a
to
little.
have Utah represent on the era. So the first thing I want to get to today, of course, is tell me the story. How'd you get started with the Field Rush, and how'd you come up with the name? Because I think that the meaning behind the name.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a lot. There's not just like one moment where I was like, I'm ready to go, right? It was more. So I'm gonna like go back to my like sophomore year of high school, right? I remember I had like a digital photography class, and it was super revolved around graphic design and editing photos. And I was a kid who loved sports growing up, like not just like football, but basketball. I loved soccer, just like really anything. Like I had a hockey phase, a baseball phase, just all those phases, right? Um, and for me, my sophomore year, I mean, I've always been such a big Utah fan that my sophomore year of high school, I kind of just like had this itch to like start like a Utah fan page, right? And I worked on that from my like sophomore year of high school to I think my freshman year of college, and like coincidentally went to the U. I always wanted to go here, and it was always for fun, right? It wasn't necessarily like I was trying to get paid or anything. It wasn't for followers or anything. It was just like because I love Utah football, and that's what I wanted. Anyways, segueing into like Field Rush, right? I remember, I've talked about this before, but I'd love to give you the breakdown as far as how it went for me. I remember my freshman year of college was going into it, I've never been more excited for like a time in my life than college. I feel like high school was so good and bad in so many ways that when I got here my freshman year, I was so excited to like restart and like be a different, not a different person. I still want to be myself, but like people had no expectations of who I was, right? So I could be anyone. And I just remember thinking I was just kind of getting like sick of the Utah fan page, not because of Utah football, but just because like I felt like I had to move on in some sort of way. But yeah, over time, I kind of just got this itch. Um, I played basketball my whole life, and when I got into my freshman year of college, I kind of had this identity crisis of like, who am I? Like, I remember asking myself, like what am I doing here? Like, what's my purpose, right? And we'll get into this a little later with like the mental health kind of stuff, but I remember going through like two of the worst weeks of my life, and you know, um, people around me like really helped me like keep going. But it was the fact that I wanted to pull myself out of this like depression or this 2 week long just like sadness. And kind of the thing to get me out of it was like I want to like do like a general college football brand and see where it goes. I had no expectations for where it could go. I just wanted to do it. That's what sounded fun to me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's so like off the cuff, and it's spontaneous in a way.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I want to start a brand. I'm finding a new version of myself. Let's have them kind of cohabitate with each other
Yeah.
here. But the way that everything aligns,
It's crazy.
it sounds perfect, and the trajectory has followed you every step of the way. And sometimes it's those spontaneous things that always
Yeah, it is.
end up being the best.
Yeah.
And so, with this being primarily a college football brand, uh,
Yeah.
what does college football mean to you? Because I think that we view it in a very similar way.
Yeah. I think so. From the brief conversation, I feel like we view it in the same way. Um, I talked about like how I played basketball my whole life. I loved playing basketball. I played from like the age of 6 to 18. Played it like almost every day, right? That was like that was my thing. I attached my identity towards that, right? And that definitely made me feel great. I'm not gonna like pretend like I didn't love that and that wasn't the most important and amazing thing for my life for the longest time. But for me, oh, sorry, I got a little. There we go. For me, it was more. Um, I remember when I was 11, I went to. If I get another phone call, I'll decline it. But I remember when I was 11, I had this dream to go to a Utah football game. And my brother, you could get like free recruiting tickets through the university or the football program, right? And we got them. I remember they weren't great tickets. They were in like the standing room only section, but like great for me because I was 11. Like I didn't need to be anywhere special, right? And the stadium is like small enough. It's not like insanely small, but compared to like Bryant Denny, it's not that big, right? But there's not really any nosebleeds there. So like anywhere you sit's good. But I remember when we got there, we drove up to Salt Lake. I grew up in Provo, so it was an hour away. We got up to Salt Lake, and I remember like getting out of the car, we parked and like going on to the concourse and just sitting there or standing there for like a good 15 seconds and just looking around and just being so like caught up in this energy and this like I don't even know, I still don't necessarily know how to explain it today. It's almost indescribable. But this I just felt like all the love in the world around me. It just felt like this was something that was truly made for me. And it's not like I necessarily didn't see certain things like this in my past. It was just like I felt like this thing was made for me, you know?
Well, there's so many there's so much positivity around the sport. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's such a diffuser. Like no matter what background we come from, no matter where we're from, no matter what our preferences are, I feel like we all get aligned in the fall over college football.
Yeah.
Like it brings it's such a vehicle and mechanism for bringing people together, and so like I can really build off of what you were saying there about standing there and Rice Eccles and just observing that
Yeah.
atmosphere. I had a similar experience when I went to my first Bama game in 2021 as a student,
Yeah.
Alabama Ole Miss on 2:30 on CBS. That was Bryce Young against Matt Corral.
Oh, I
And
love it. That's a
I
great.
remember it was hot as hell, but it just
It was fun.
the energy that was there was unbelievable. You can't
Yeah.
replicate it. And then I don't know if you can agree with this too, but I feel like a lot of things in life change.
Yeah.
College football, granted, like the landscape of it is changing,
Yeah.
but it's the one thing that's always there. It's the one thing that's always
Oh,
consistent. You can always rely on. It's always there.
I agree with you. I think um yeah. With NIL, with the transfer portal and more things that are coming, like now we can like schools can pay players directly, right? Um, like no matter what, you're always gonna get if you have something extremely good, you're gonna get something extremely bad. Like there's always a polar opposite to one thing. It's just more like what do you want to focus on, right?
Yeah.
Personally, I feel like both of us we want to focus on the good. Like that's why we're here. So yeah, no, I totally agree with you.
So, but building off of what you just said, they're focusing on the
Yeah.
good and the bad. I over the past, I would say, I think I saw it starting to develop before the pandemic took place, but then the
Yeah.
pandemic really accelerated this trend. Um,
Yeah.
I feel like when I sit back and look at media, which it's starting to evolve. I'm seeing a shift where people are starting to cover it more from a positive lens than
Yeah.
a negative. There's guys that are great at doing this, like Josh Pate.
Love Josh.
JD Pickell is great at doing that
Yeah.
too. Several others out there I can name, but do you think you're kind of seeing that shift as well?
Yeah, I mean I think so. Yeah, going back to the good and bad, right? When there's a positive reporter, there's always going to be a negative reporter, right? And it's also like perception, right? Because for someone, if someone's really positive, someone else might view them as negative. Um, like I think our mission is like we want to be one of the, if not the most positive brands when it comes to college football. And that's not saying we're always positive, right? Like I'm not gonna say like we have a perfect brand. But I think so many brands are so focused on this like negativity aspect. And it stems from like, like legacy media, just like really big media companies where they're so focused on like all the bad things that, this person's doing, this politician's doing, right? Or this organization's doing. And it's just like why do we necessarily have to focus on all the bad? Like that's never necessarily made sense to me. Um, it's it's funny because you bring up Josh Payton, JD. I love JD. I've been on a phone call with him, and he's such a nice guy, man. But Josh, I totally forgot to bring this up if that's okay. But I remember we might have to find this video or something, but I think it was either October of 2022. I saw a video from Josh Pate, not on the late kick with Josh Pate then, different show now, but it was a different show with another host, but they were asking him like how he got into football, right? And I'm not going to go too into detail, but I remember watching this video and like this was like one of the like main catalysts to get me to get into college football media is I watched Josh Pate talk and I'm like, this guy's great at what he does, but I feel like I could do something like this too. And he was a huge person, like inspiring me to do what I wanted to do. So I just want to talk about that really quickly. But
No,
anyways,
I mean it's crazy that you say that in 2022
yeah, yeah, yeah,
because literally, yeah, I'm not just mirroring you when I say this. Like
yeah,
literally, same time, same time, I watched Josh Pate for the first time that year.
yeah.
I remember the first video I ever clicked on. It was Alabama versus Texas. His projection for that game when we went to Austin and won by like a point off of
Yeah.
Will Reichard's field
That was a
goal.
great game.
Um, oh, that game took years off my life. It was
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
from like from an external standpoint, yeah, it was great, but like I
yeah.
went through it during that thing.
Internally, no.
Oh God,
Terrible one.
my internal organs, I was tight.
I know the kind of game. Yeah, I
Oh
get it.
my God, took years off my life. But yeah, I remember watching his projection because I kept seeing him pop up in my feed. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna watch this. I want to see if this guy is gonna say that Alabama's gonna win because if he
Yeah,
does, that'll make me feel a little bit more comfortable. And
yeah,
well, he went through his whole breakdown, and I think we were favored by 28 to win, which is unreal to think of at this point. Against Texas,
yeah,
obviously we did not cover. Needless to say, but he predicted us to win.
yeah,
But his analysis, I was like, man, I can just feel the energy. I'm like, this guy loves what he's doing. Like he's
yeah,
well versed in this, and I could see myself doing something like this. Not exactly what he's doing, but like my own
definitely.
version. And so
Yeah,
it's certain people in the industry that do it a certain way that I think inspire people like you and I. It's
I
awesome.
think it just shows people that it is possible, right? And it doesn't have to be a specific thing. It's just the fact that, like, oh yeah, you can work in this business, right? And like for me, it doesn't feel like a job, right? It's just I would do this for free on Saturdays, like just with the boys.
I love this. Like
Wow, who's the best, right?
I had a long day of work today, the 9 to 5. I'm doing this. I'll be doing
Yeah,
this probably till I go to bed tonight. Like
I
record
love it.
editing. Like it's just when you genuinely enjoy something, you wanna stick to it. And
I
so,
agree.
um, that's another question I have for you is like when it came to you getting started with the field rush,
Yeah.
because you grew up pretty quickly. Um, what's been like one of your keys to success, and how important have people around you been in helping you grow it?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot, right? Once again, not like one thing, right? You bring up keys. So, and growing, like literally growing, I think I find it's interesting because each platform has like their own like bread and butter, right? Instagram, I got it into a time where it's competing with TikTok, right? Every platform is competing with TikTok as far as like trying to keep people on their platform and trying to like pretty much rob their attention span, which I'm not a big fan of, but like I guess don't hate the player, hate the game, right? But it's more the fact that Reels really helped us grow. Like if you want to grow on Instagram, the way to grow is through Reels. But I've always thought like if you have Reels, the way you can keep a fan base or keep an audience is, you have these static content posts, right? They're carousel posts, right? They're more usually meaningful as opposed to the other posts can be meaningful, right? But those are usually like kind of more bingeable and more to like get you on the page rather than keep you on the page. So I think Reels have been huge, but also like having the healthy balance between those two, right? Um, keys, other keys as well. I used to do this by myself. This used to just be a me thing, and I I didn't I didn't necessarily get burnt out, but there was times where I was like, "Oh my gosh, like I don't know how I could do this for the rest of my life just on my own." Even though I had the passion for it, it would just get like it'd get really tiring on game days. Like doing it on my own, like trying to get like more than 15 posts out in a game day was like so hard to do. And now it's just like normal, right? But the fact that we have four others on the team. There's AJ Allen, there's Brennan McKellar, there's Kyle Little, and then there's Liv Graham. And they all do their specific roles and specific tasks to like help the brand as a whole, right? So they've been huge. Like Kyle's amazing. He's our graphic designer, like slash creative director, right? And he's been, dude, it's so hard to explain how good he is at designing. Like he'll send like a graphic in the group chat and it'll be like, how the hell did he make this? Like, and he makes it in like 30 minutes. Um, Brennan's been amazing as far as reaching out to brands, trying to get that like monetary value. AJ, such a creative person in the way that he's our videographer. So I'm giving you the whole breakdown. I'll try and be
No,
quick.
no, this is important for people to know,
Yeah.
like the hierarchy.
Yeah. AJ, he's our videographer, but he also does graphic design and like he just has a great eye for being creative and making creative things, right? Which I think like the funnest companies are the ones that are creative, right? And then Liv, like I've been best friends with Liv. She lives in Utah. I've been best friends with her since like my freshman or sophomore year of college. And she's been amazing. She's like a project manager, so she like makes sure that we're doing things right. Because sometimes like we'll get distracted in a meeting and we'll like joke around and she's like, "All right, guys, like we gotta get back to the task on hand." But she's also helping out with schedules, brand deals, whatever, right? Anyways,
Oh, like, you always need that one person to. Everybody's got their role, and you always need that one person to reel everybody back in. Because
you need them.
trust me, I'm the king of distraction. I'm the opposite, and
I
so
am
he
too.
needs me to reel me in.
I am too. It's funny because me and AJ, we both have ADHD. So if you like put us around each other, we like
Oh,
it's
oh, say me, blah, 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 blah.
yeah,
Like 25 minutes later, you've done nothing. I'm like, oh shit.
it's
Well, I should probably
it's so
refocus.
funny. It's so funny, but it's also so fun because like it doesn't
It's like
feel
the
like
episode of Seinfeld where like where George and Jerry are sitting in the room with the notepads. Like, all right,
yeah.
we're gonna go on to something else,
Yeah,
some whole story.
I love it. So
It's
yeah, definitely Reels. not just reels, like making good content that helps at least try, like we try and help people, right? Um, Great team, and then definitely consistency. I would say those are three of the keys. There's more, nothing more that I can think of right now, though.
But that's, I mean, that's a pretty good summarization of it. So
Agree.
that's
I'm
definitely
glad.
something that aspiring entrepreneurs can take and run with.
I think so, yeah.
Um, but one thing we really wanted to hammer home in this interview here, when we were prepping for it, is I want you to go a little bit into how much you value the importance of mental health when
Yeah.
it comes to your journey and what you do with the field rush.
Yeah. I mean, it's like very important. I would say, because like on the surface, it's a college football brand, right? But like our slogan, "Rush That Damn Field," like it's also like it's the title of like what we want to help people do, right? Um, I've always been like super intentional, and this is why I'm so glad like we have such good people on the team now. We've grown this in like the last year. Like it used to just be me, but we now have five people on the team, right? But it's to the point like where we want to intertwine like our personalities into the brand because I think it's important. Like reason why like we fall in love with companies like ESPN is because people like Lee Corso or Kirk Herbstreit or Chris Fowler, right? Or like Fox, we love it because of Gus Johnson, just like him being electric. Um, we like things because of the people behind them. Like the people that represent things are amazing. And for me, I've always my whole life so this past year I went to psychologist and got like diagnosed with like generalized anxiety disorder, right? And I know like that's pretty normal. A lot of people have anxiety, right? But for me, I felt like I've had it at least my whole life, and it's always felt like kind of like a dynamite in my chest that like feels like it's gonna blow up at any moment. And it usually doesn't, but it's just always the fact that like maybe it will, right? Um talking to other people about their issues too has been important because it like resonates with me and resonates with them. And for me, like I talk about like the founding of Field Rush, like it wouldn't be a brand if I wasn't depressed for 2 weeks, right? It probably wouldn't be here. Um, so you get the good from the very bad, or you get the very good from the very bad. And I've I think I've always wanted people to like understand like how important it is for them to have like a good headspace. Um, like I was talking to it's so interesting, right? Because our main base is like younger kids like 12, 13 up to like young adults, right? And like these kids, these ages are trying to figure out who they are, right? And people take their whole lives to figure that out. But especially like this phase of their life is so important, figuring out who they are. And they go through some of the hardest things because they're finally understanding what life means and like what death means, what pain means. And I was talking to a follower of ours a couple months ago. I'm not gonna like say who his name is, but he had a friend who just took his own life. He might have had two friends who took their own lives. And I remember just talking to him, and I think I remember him just telling us like how much like our content means to him, and like how much like our missions like actually helped him, right? And like that's so important to me because like I know what it's like to like not want to be here. Like it's it's a terrible feeling. It's a terrible feeling. And when you get out of that like framework of thinking, you're like, why did I ever think about that? But when you're in that pain mindset, it's so hard to get out of it. So with um with Rush That Damn Field, we just like we want people to chase their dreams, right? And we want people to focus on the positive, not like tune out the negative. It's there. It's just like acknowledging all the bad and appreciating it for what it is, because that's how you grow as a person. Anyways.
No, that's a really good way to put it. And
Yeah.
your content has been great at projecting that. Like I do notice that in your content mix, like you will have content about mental health and and you address it, and I think it's something that really needs to be addressed. Like it's not talk about especially in our space nearly
Yeah.
enough. Um, I mean, you heard back in 2020, like people in the sports media space talking more about politics than anything.
It's
Um,
crazy. Yeah,
I
yeah.
always appreciated people that never went down that route,
Yeah.
and you never heard mental health talk about once. And so just addressing that, and because I think that when you speak it out loud, like there's so many other people that are like, yeah, I felt that, I resonate with that, and
Yeah.
if he feels that, so have I. There's a connection there, and it really helps people get through some shit. And so.
I think so too. Yeah. You got
Um,
to play with people. Yeah.
Oh, you do. You got to play with people. You got to connect with them.
Yeah.
One last thing here, but before we go, I see that the timer thing's clicking
Yeah.
down. So,
Okay. How much do we got?
it's got 4 minutes and 45
I'll
seconds.
be fast. I got you.
We got this.
Yeah.
One piece of advice that you can leave people, that they're in our age group who just want to follow their passion, whatever it
Yeah.
is.
Um, there's a lot of things, but I'll try and skim it down into just a little bit. Right. Our slogan's rush that damn field, right? Um, and I think like when we say that, like we want people to go like literally rush fields, right? Obviously, like that's a
Yeah.
part of our brand. We want to mesh that into like people field rushing, jumping over a fence and going to do whatever they want. That's fun, right? But it's also the fact that's like we don't just mean that literally. Like that means like also go chase your damn dream as well. I think I've had so many people. I don't know why people are like this. Like I remember when I played basketball, I had a coach tell me we were in practice one time and he was like don't even worry about it, like you guys aren't gonna make the NBA anyways. And I remember standing there and like what like happened in your life for you to say that to me who's like a 16-year-old,
Yeah.
you're like a 20 or 30 something year old, like I'm just like what made you say that to me, right? So kind of want to what I want to get at here is my least favorite word, and I think it should be your least favorite word too, is realistic. I think a lot of people they want to put us in this box or whatever, right? Of things that everyone else has done and things that they have done. And then based on that, they give you what, okay, here's what's possible, right? Here's what you can go do, right? But they don't think outside of it, right? And I don't know. I've always tried to be optimistic. I know there's certain times where it's hard to be optimistic, but like, please, if a kid is watching this or someone like who has lost their purpose, if you're trying to find their purpose, you can find it. I just don't listen to people that are projecting their feelings of, past failures onto you, right? Because in reality, a lot of people they fail at things and they think they're a failure, right? But like that's a part of the process of like getting to a successful point in your life that you have to go through all the shit, like all the bad things.
Yeah.
Um, Kind of cap it off is all the all the really good things in my life have come from the worst things that have ever happened to me. I don't know if you've seen this interview with Stephen Colbert, but Stephen Colbert talks about loving the thing that you most wish had not happened to you. And while I've there's been parts of my life where I've been so sad and so down on myself and been in so much pain, I have this motto, it's passion, pain, and purpose. And it's the fact that the pain makes your life better. It grows you as a person. And therefore, you can make other people better by showing you that life's not that bad. It's actually really good. You just have to look in the right places. Anyways, that's what I got. That's what I got.
That's actually something that I'm really gonna like take and reflect on after this and like pray on
I'm
it.
glad.
That was honestly fantastic.
I appreciate you. I'm glad I get up.
Absolutely. No, and that's something that I'm sure is going to resonate with a lot of the kids watching here too. A lot of just whoever's watching this. Like that's really insightful advice. But I appreciate you coming on here,
Yeah.
Skyler. You were an excellent guest, hearing how you got started with the field rush, and then
Yeah.
just bonding off of that shared passion of college football. a special place. I'm looking forward to staying in touch here, and you know, anybody who wants to go follow the Field Rush, see what it's all about. It's on Instagram, the Field Rush. Follow it. It's a fantastic site.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
But thank you for coming on, Skyler, and go Utes. Let's have a year.
Go Utes. Where's the damn field? Thank
Rush
you.
that damn field.